You're listening to the Confidence Coach Podcast, episode 62, an interview with Arielle Kuchel. Just go for it. All right, I'm pretty excited. Today I got Arielle joining me on the podcast. Arielle, I'm going to let you just go ahead and take it away. So tell me who you are and what do you do?
All right. I am Arielle Kuchel. I'm 25 and I live in Kingsley, Iowa with my husband and our 5-month-old daughter. I do paperwork for my husband's roofing business, and then I'm also a Young Living distributor. So I help people get started with essential oils.
I love that. Okay, so we're just going to dive deep. People are just going to figure out who you are, why do you do those things? And then I want to ask you a few questions about why you feel or what you feel holds people back. We'll talk a little bit about confidence and things like that. So how did you get started in the oil business?
All right. So my husband and I were trying to get pregnant for about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. And there weren't really any reasons why it wasn't happening. So we just kind of decided to take a step back and look at what we were putting on our bodies and in our bodies and the products that we were using. And I really had no idea about the ingredients that were in these products and all the toxins and everything. And so at that point I was kind of just I'll try anything at this point to get pregnant. So I had a friend that posted about essential oils. She was holding a 101 class and I was like, okay, yeah, sign me up. And I went through the class and immediately was hooked, bought my kit and started to do all the research about ditching things with toxins and switching to a cleaner lifestyle. So we've kind of been on that journey ever since.
So let's talk about the toxins, right? Because when you say toxins, I think of, a big black barrel of oil that's spilling over and cartoon characters dying.
Right.
I feel like we have a misrepresentation in society on what toxins actually are. So can you kind of dive into that and tell us some of the things that you specifically started to change in your house?
Well, the first thing that I started changing was candles, and that was a killer for me because I was the type of person that was addicted to Bath and Body Works candles. I had 50 at one point. So, and I never correlated it, but the fragrance is what they call it, and fragrance can really be anything. As long as a company puts fragrance on the label, they don't have to disclose what they're using to make their fragrance.
Really?
Yeah, it's really crazy. So once I looked at that and, kind of correlated with the candles, as soon as I stopped using candles, I stopped getting headaches. I would have headaches or migraines every single day. And since I quit using those, I quit getting the headaches and migraines. So, after that, I was like, okay, what else can we switch? And I looked at our cleaners and, most of the things that you clean your house with or even the kids' toys, they say if they get in your kids' mouths, you have to call poison control. And it's okay, that's terrifying. And so Young Living has a thieves cleaner. So I got rid of all the household cleaners and just switched to that. I use that to clean everything in our house and all of Kendall's toys and everything like that. So I'm really comfortable with that. And then just skincare and our shampoo and everything, I just wanted a healthier option. So I switched to that and I've noticed a huge difference. And my face has cleared up, my hair isn't as oily. I only need to wash it once a week. So all about that convenience.
That's awesome. Okay. So I want to take a step back and I want to go back to where you had said that you and your husband were trying to get pregnant. And then you had talked about starting to clear out the toxins. So
Right.
how was that journey for you? I can't imagine that being something easy to go through or talk about. So would you say that's been one of your biggest struggles in the last 5 years?
Getting pregnant.
Just that whole journey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been hard. Um, at first it was kind of like, eh, okay, it doesn't happen right away. And then when there were no answers, it was really hard. And so just starting on the journey of switching everything, it was kind of nice to take my mind off of like, all right, I'm not pregnant right now. So that was kind of helpful. And then once I was pregnant, it was really important to me to keep the toxins out of our house, to like be very aware of the things that I'm putting on Kendall's body. So it's been hard, but I would say that it's definitely worth it.
I love that. So do you feel, so what is your why for doing this? What's the why behind it all?
Um, to protect Kendall. I know she can't just like live in a bubble, but anything that I can do to, keep her from, I don't know, the toxins, from getting sick, from really, I'm just worried about protecting her. So that's kind of where it all stems from, I guess.
Well, and I love that because there is a lot of danger out there today, and I don't want to like install like fear in anybody. But if you can start making simpler, healthier choices within your household, and I think just me personally, I feel like it's simpler than we make it. I think a lot of
Yeah,
times you feel like you have to pull your kid out of school, or you have to do this, or you have to wear gloves everywhere, or you have to wear a mask everywhere. And it's like, no, you do what you can with what you have, and there's simple tools and resources to educate yourself and to better protect yourself. So I love that. So I love that you're coming at it from like a holistic way, and not that like it's the end all be all, but it's
right.
definitely some amazing tools. So what do you think has been the biggest shift for you and your family when it comes to these oils? Like what's been the biggest aha, or the thing that has made the biggest impact on your life?
I would say there's two things. So the first thing that like made me a believer in the oils was how well I could sleep with them. Before I used essential oils, I was getting like 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, and it was awful. And I think it was either the first or the second night that I started diffusing the lavender and stress away together. I slept for like a full 9 hours, and I didn't wake up one time, and it was so nice. So that was the first thing that made me be like, okay, like these actually do work. Like what else can they do? Um, and then the other thing is I used to be sick all the time, and there was really nothing. I don't know. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was always going to the doctor. I was always sick. I was always getting a Z pack and just on the 7 to 10 days of antibiotics, just trying to get through it. But since switching to Young Living products, I don't want to say it's just the essential oils, but they have other products too, like supplements and the cleaner and everything like that. And using Thieves every day, I've gone to the doctor. The only time I went to the doctor this last year was for my checkups with Kendall, when I was pregnant with her, and then having her and her going in for her routine checkups and everything. So it's really, it's helpful to not have to go to the doctor once a month and, pay to go to the doctor and pay to get your antibiotics, when you can just be proactive and try and stay healthy.
So let's talk about that. I have two questions out of what you just asked. So
Okay.
the first one is, can you tell us a little bit about what diffusing means? Like, what is that? Because for me, I think, again, like I go back to like what I thought it was a few years ago, or before I started using oils. I thought like it lit a candle and it like diffused it in the air, but it's not like that. So can you walk us through what diffusing is?
Right. So there's like an actual diffuser, and you put water in it, and then you can put your drops of oil in it. And when you turn it on, it makes like a vapor kind of. with the water, and the oils are in there. So it just kind of disperses that into the air and you can smell it. So, I mean, it kind of takes the place of a candle. I know it doesn't actually. Like, I love candles. So I don't want to switch to a diffuser and it'll be the exact same. Like, it's totally not. But you can make natural candles, and, you know, you can still have candles that way. But yeah,
Which is something
more.
that, okay, so, well, and I know that you've thought about doing candles. So have you taken up on that?
I do have something that I'm working on, but I don't want to go into detail quite yet.
Okay. So everybody needs to stay tuned and go follow Arielle for when that launches. So that's all we can say for right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And then the next thing that you said, you actually talked about being sick all the time and always going to the doctor, spending money on Z-Packs, on antibiotics. So on a typical year, what do you think you spent money-wise on going to the doctor?
Oh gosh.
Just
Well,
ballpark it.
okay, I would say probably almost 2,000.
Okay. And that's probably after insurance, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. That was just your out-of-pocket cost.
Yep.
Okay. The reason I ask this is because a lot of times people, myself in particular, didn't understand the return on investment when you start to be proactive versus reactive. And what I mean by that is proactive is you do the things similar to what you're doing. You know, you take the supplements, you take the oils, you take care of your health first, and then you don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to do these visits, right? You don't spend that money versus, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal. You have that lack mindset. I'll take care of it when something happens.
Right.
Or you say things like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, which is all just bullshit, right? And then you end up spending way more than that on the doctor for quick fixes or antibiotics or Z-Packs or whatever it ends up being, you know, health-wise, when a lot of those things could have been prevented. So can you talk a little bit about the return on investment and kind of like walk us through really your money story when it came to investing in yourself? And this can be for anything, because I know you do, you know, we know each other a little bit before this. So, you know, I know you do the exercises and you take care of yourself, you know, mentally, physically, and you do this too. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's kind of been like a whole lifestyle change. You know, like you said, working out every day, I've been more mindful of the food that I'm putting in my body, but I'm not like an expert on that. And so with the oils, I was kind of like, okay, you know, it is a little bit of money up front, but I'm going to dedicate like my time to this and really learn all about them, get everything I can out of them, and see what they'll do for me. So they have, you know, different supplements that they really have supplements for everything, but I don't want to like be overwhelming with it. So they have vitamins that I take daily, and the thieves is what I put on daily. Those are the two major things that I've gotten from Young Living that I do every single day. And if I don't, I can definitely tell. So just incorporating the vitamins and putting the thieves on, like, that is a huge game changer. Like, I put the thieves on Kendall every single day and she hasn't been sick yet. So it's like, just knowing that I'm being proactive with that part is a huge like weight off my mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. So you say that you can tell a difference. So
Yeah.
how did you feel physically and mentally, you know, throughout your day before discovering this? And how do you feel now? Like, what is the difference? Can you describe that?
Yeah. So before, I just kind of felt like I was just like going through the day. Like, I had to do this. I had to do this, you know, and I was always
Mm-hmm.
looking for the next cup of coffee or the next energy drink, just addicted to like caffeine, and my brain was just like foggy. I was constantly tired. And most of the time I was feeling like run down and sick and stressed out. And so now, taking the vitamins and using the thieves, I feel healthier. So that helps all around. But having the different oils to diffuse, like peppermint gives you energy and helps you focus. And like they do have an energy oil and they do have supplements for energy, and it's all natural. So I'm not like super worried about the ingredients in an energy drink and the effect that it'll have on my body or my heart or whatever. So like with breastfeeding Kendall, I don't want to drink an energy drink and worry about what she's getting out of that. So all of this is like, it's all natural alternatives. So I just feel lighter. My mind is more clear, more energized. I just feel more alive. It's awesome.
I love that. And it is, oils I feel like are more natural because they are, they're oils compressed from the plant. Do you know how the process of how these oils, I guess, become oils? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. So it's kind of different depending on the oil. Like sometimes it's part of the plant or the flower or the peel of like the fruit. So depending on the oil, and then they press it or distill it and put it into the bottle. So it's really cool with Young Living. They have a seed to seal promise. So from the seed to the point where it gets in your bottle and sealed to you, they're completely open with it. It's all their process. If you ever want to go visit one of their farms and see everything or their factories to see it all, like they're totally open to it. So that's definitely on my bucket list so I can actually see it all happen.
Oh, you said it out loud. So now everybody's got to hold you to it.
Do it.
So I love this. You're very knowledgeable in this area. Every question I've been throwing at you so far, you're just like firing them off. So, what is, just before I switch gears here, like what's your favorite product? What's your all-time favorite? Like if somebody was going to say, oh, I want to try this, like what one do you recommend?
I hate picking one, but I would say thieves. Well, oh gosh, thieves are lavender. This is
Okay.
terrible. But thieves, it's awesome. It purifies the air. You can clean with it. It keeps you healthy. Like, I don't know. Everybody needs it, especially this time of year.
Okay. So what about lavender? What does lavender do for you?
Everything. You can use it on burns. It helps sleep or helps you with sleep. It's calming. I put it in my mascara to help my eyelashes grow. You can put it in your hair to help your hair grow. Like you can use it for everything. It's amazing.
I love that. Okay. So I kind of want to switch gears.
All right.
I know we've been kind of talking a lot about business stuff, but I want to dive into this even further, and some of this personal stuff is going to come out too. So what would you say your biggest superpower is in your personal life and in your business life, and are they related?
I would say my superpower, my personal life would probably be planning, maybe. Well, not maybe. It is. I'm a planner.
I like that. You're like, I'm just going to own this right now.
Yeah, there's no denying it. So I'm a planner, and I definitely think that helps in my business side of things because I like to get shit done. So I just have to plan it out and then do it, and I'm good to go.
I like that. And do you find it easy or hard to take action?
I find it easy once I have a plan. Sometimes I struggle to figure out my plan, but once I have it, I'm like, all right, we're good to go. Let's do it.
So walk us through that. Like what part is the struggle of planning?
I think my biggest struggle is like where to start because I just want to do it all and I want to do it all right now. So I have to like take a step back and like write it out, like the steps that I need to take. And I've learned from you to prioritize them. So that has kind of been my biggest struggle is prioritizing. But once I have it figured out, I'm good.
So talk about that for a second, and then I'll kind of elaborate because there's a few different analogies, me the analogy queen, that I want to share with people. But I want you to educate people on kind of how you determine what's priority or not in the thought process, like that whole step by step that goes through your head before you're like, okay, this is what I'm focusing on.
Okay, so in my personal life, I will make a to-do list every day, which normally has like 15 things on it because I'm crazy. And then I narrow it down to one thing for me, one thing for Cody, one thing for Kendall, and then like one thing to like take care of the house or whatever. So I try and keep it down to like 5 things. Um, and if I get anything else past those 5 things, then that's all just a bonus. And it, keeps me positively thinking like, oh, I got so much done today and I got all this extra stuff done. So that's nice. And then business wise, I write everything down and then I prioritize it by like the dollar amount. So if I do this, is it more productive or more income producing rather than doing this other thing that needs done, but isn't going to get me any income by doing it?
It's not going to move it makes perfect sense. I love that because I think a lot of times we focus on mindless tasks versus high leverage action tasks, both in our personal life and our professional life, right? So going back to like the family, I know I have this talk with a lot of women. Everybody has a to-do list a mile long. Everybody has a to-do list a mile long, right? So every day you talk about putting 15 or 20 items on your to-do list, right? Mm-hmm. There is literally only 24 hours in a day. You cannot get everything done in a day, but we set these expectations on ourselves as women that we have to show up as, the best mom, the best wife, the best house taker, the best businesswoman, the best whatever it is, right? And if we don't get every single thing done on that checklist, then we're a failure, or we feel like shit, or we don't feel accomplished, right? We're not worthy because we didn't get this, and this done, versus just picking one thing in each area of your life and giving it 100%.
Right.
And then everything, like you said before that, or after that, becomes a bonus, right? And so then you're like, no matter what, as long as I got these 3 things done today, I am successful. I am worthy. I can do this. And then everything on top of that, you're just like, well, this is awesome. I got 3 more things done than I had originally planned. And then anything that's not high leverage can go to another day, which brings me to the business thing, because a lot of times we're like lost in our inbox, or what do we need to do next? Or we're like, oh, I have to redo this post. I have to find the perfect picture. And it's like, no, you do, but those aren't high leverage actions, right? So I do talk about assigning dollar amounts to actions, because you're the CEO of your business, right? You want to be doing the high dollar things and doing the other things that, either delegating them out or doing them later after all the high leverage is done. So I love that. And I could talk for hours on that, so I'm not going to, but so what do you say you value most in life?
I would say I have probably 4 top ones, and I would say it's family, faith, integrity, and adventure.
So talk about those a little bit. Why are those important to you?
Yeah, I really love all of our family time that we get together. I am lucky enough to stay at home with Kendall, and I appreciate that every single day. And Cody works really hard, so when he is home, I definitely value our time together. If I could spend every minute as a family, I would, but that's just me.
I'm the same way.
I'm glad I'm not alone. Our faith is really important to us too. We really leaned into that when we couldn't get pregnant. It was important to us before, but we leaned into it a lot when we went through all that. So we kind of just keep that at the center of our family. Integrity, I value in myself and everyone around me. I guess integrity to me means, that you're open and honest and you value other people's time and you're responsible and a lot of things. So integrity to me is important, because if you don't value me and you're not being honest with me and I'm not doing the same to you, then what's that relationship really even doing,
Mm-hmm.
And then adventure. I love to go on trips and do adrenaline things. I don't know what you call it, but adventures.
You're an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, I
I'm the same. I'm like, what can I do next to make my heart jump out of my chest?
yes, exactly.
So what's your favorite
I
adventure?
so far it's been skydiving.
Oh, tell us about that.
Cody and I went in Vegas a couple years ago, and I'm like terrified of heights. So I was like shaking even thinking about it. And they like suit you up, and then we had to sit there for like 45 minutes while a group went in front of us. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just talk myself out of this while I sit here. But luckily, we got in the plane, and the guy's like, all right, you're the last one in, so you're the first one out. Didn't tell me that till we're in the air. And then I'm like looking out, and he's like, well, if you don't jump, nobody can jump. So are you ready? So I didn't really have a choice. And we jumped out, and it was like the coolest thing I've ever done. I wanted to like go right back up and do it again. So
Walk us through that. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
If anybody's thinking about doing it, you should totally do it. Just don't think about it. Just do it.
It is on my bucket list, and I swear every time I make the plan to do it, I get pregnant. So I'm telling you, this fall, after I'm not pregnant, I am skydiving. Even if I have to fly to Vegas to do it, like it's happening.
Yes, it's totally worth it. You have to.
So walk me through the thought process, and I keep going back because I catch you saying things like you talk yourself out of it, and I know a lot of people do this. So what thoughts were you having? And I know you literally got pushed out of a plane, but had you not, like, do you think you would have went through with it?
So while I was sitting there the whole time, I was just like, this is stupid. Like, who's going to jump out of a perfectly good plane? And then I'm like, what if the plane isn't perfectly good? What if the chute doesn't work? What if, all the what ifs, like, I could literally die doing this. Like, is it really worth it? So basically worst case scenario was everything that was going through my mind. And I was literally shaking, thought I was going to pee my pants. And then I was just like, I'm going to be so mad at myself if I don't do this. Like, just frickin' do it. So once we got up there, like, I think even if he wouldn't have told me that, like, I had to go or nobody else could go, I think I would have done it. Because once you get up there, it's like, you're either going to do it or you're probably never going to get to that point again. So you might as well just go for it, right?
You've come so far to only come this far.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was definitely worth it.
So what do you think holds people back? I know a lot of times people have these negative thoughts or this talking themselves out of it. So what do you think is the number one thing that holds people back?
Fear. And not just like, I don't know, fear of everything, like fear of rejection or judgment. My fear, probably my biggest fear is either judgment or not being good enough or like what people will say or think about me. So I think, I don't know, I think everyone can relate to that on some level.
Yes, definitely. So what are some of the things that you tell yourself when you find that this fear and this fear of judgment, what other people think, how do you overcome that?
I kind of just tell myself, like, who gives a fuck what everybody else thinks?
Yes. I love that.
Yeah. Like when we went to Nashville a couple weeks ago, we had Kendall with us and we wanted to go in and check out some of the bars. And I'm just like, the whole time we're walking there, I'm like, what are people going to think that we're bringing like this 5-month-old baby into a bar? Like they're going to think we're awful parents, like whatever. And then I'm like, it's the middle of the day. Nobody's like super drunk or anything, like it's Nashville. It's like, you have to go see these bars or it's like, what are you doing? So I just said, whatever, we're doing it. And we took her and everybody was so nice. Like they didn't care that there was a baby in the bar. They wanted me to get her out, hold her. And like, I'm like, well,
they were probably loving it.
Yeah, they were. So every time I'm like nervous about something, I'm never like proven right about it. Like it always turns out way better than what I imagined. So I just keep that in the back of my head.
So do you have a support team to kind of like call you out on this bullshit, or like who did you walk yourself through all of this, or did Cody say like, nope, we're going to do this anyways, or is this all internal?
Most of it's internal. Like, I mean, if I'm really freaking out, like obviously I turn to you quite a bit. But in the moment situations, most of it's internal, but Cody can normally see me freaking out and he'll be like, okay, do you want to like open up and let me in? Like, what's going on? And I'll just say something quick and he always is just like, okay, what would Sausha say? Or okay, is this rational?
Oh my goodness. Is this rational? I love that though. Like I always ask myself, is it true? Has nobody ever done this? Do people really not care? Is this person really judging me? Is this true? And when you dive really deep into it, the more layers you ask yourself, is this true? Almost, I'm not going to guarantee, but I'd say 99% of the time, it's not true. And it's all just made up perception in your head, you projecting your discomfort onto others to try to rationalize your thinking, right? And
Yeah.
so that's where I always tell myself, like, think bigger picture, right? Like, I'm this little person on this little planet. All I want to do is go to a bar and have this experience, right? I'm making it into something that it's not, instead of being present and enjoying the moment and really having that memory to cherish versus talking myself out of it because of some made up train of thought that my brain did based on history or previous experiences, or because I've been conditioned to think that way. Right. So I love
Yep.
that. I love that. So if anybody ever struggles with that, like negative thoughts, things like that, like ask yourself, is this true? Is this ultimately true? And if the answer is no, find a way to make it happen, you know? So you sound, and maybe this is just because like I know you, I know your story, and I feel like you've come very far in a short amount of time. So can you tell us what confidence means to you and how you are this confident individual that you are today? And this starts, you know, before me and you, but can you walk us just through that whole process on, I mean, because there's been a lot of things in your life that I think have made you this tough, confident, resilient, passionate woman. So can you kind of elaborate?
Yeah. So I would say, first of all, when I was like in high school and like 18 or whatever, I was like way more confident than I was when I'm like 22. Like I'm 25 now. So I'm like going through this like roller coaster of it. But I feel like when I was in high school, I had the who gives a shit attitude. Like who cares what people think about me? And I was like super confident in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like I grew up a little bit and kind of realized like, oh, people do judge you for this, or oh, like, you know, just kind of got in my own head about things. And so then I took a step back and lost a lot of my confidence. And it was kind of hard to get it back. Like I still wouldn't say I'm like super confident by any means, but I'm definitely getting it back, and at least, you know, more confident in my own skin, which means so much to me. And you would kind of ask me what confidence to me means. And I would
Yes.
say that being afraid, but doing it anyways is like mainly what confidence means to me. Like not caring what people think or say about me and still doing it, stepping out of my comfort zone, because I know that's where I'll grow, even though I'm like super scared. Like just actually going for it, even when that everything is telling me not to. That's what confidence means to me.
And you have at least two very good examples within this podcast. The one, jumping out of the plane, you literally were scared shitless. You said you were going to pee your pants, but you did it anyways. And as soon as you did it, you're like, let's do it again. Right? Like that to me is confidence. And then same thing with like the bar thing. Like you really want to have this experience in the middle of the day with your child, but you were worried about who this person says, what that person thinks, yada, yada, yada. And you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it anyways. And then guess what? It was a brilliant experience. Everybody there loved it. And you're just like, I would totally do that again.
Yes, for sure.
So how can people gain more confidence? What do you think is you talk about getting scared and doing it anyways. Um, what do you think that they could do if they're like, I'm not going to jump out of a plane? Like, what small action steps do you think they could take in their daily life, day-to-day life, that would help them build more confidence?
Well, first of all, I would just say like getting out of your own head. Like, quit listening to the stories that you tell yourself of like, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. This isn't going to be right or whatever. And just do it. Like, if you want to do something, just do it. Who cares if you're not the best at it, or who cares if it's not perfect? If it makes you happy, just do it. And I think that makes a huge difference in building the confidence daily. And then it's just easier to do the big stuff.
For sure. It's practice. I go back to the push-up things. Like, if you do one push-up a day, you're going to be able to bang out 10 or 20 by the end of the month and not even, not be winded by it or whatever. It's that mental muscle, and you practice every day, every day, every day. 6 months from now, you're like, holy shit, where did this level of confidence come from? Well, by practicing it every day, just little teeny tiny baby steps, you're building that muscle. So I love that. All right. So before we wrap this up, what's next for you? What's coming up? How can people contact you?
Well, if you're local, I will actually be on March 9th. Kingsley is having a sip-in shop at Dusky's. So I'll be set up there with all my Young Living stuff, the cleaners, all the supplements, anything like that. So if you're interested in anything in that along those lines, come check me out there. It's from 6 to 8:30 on March 9th at Dusky's in Kingsley. Otherwise, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Arielle Kuchel.
Awesome. Do you have any specials or anything going on that you'd like to share with anybody as far as, I guess, oils go?
Yeah. So if anyone, if you contact me and you want to get signed up or make a purchase of the kit or whatever, I do have a freebie for you. So if you just reach out, we can discuss whatever. There will be a freebie. So everybody loves freebies, right?
Everybody loves freebies. It's true. Okay. So go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
I was just going to say, what I'm going to do is link all of your contact information in the show notes. So if anybody is interested in, following along on your journey, meeting you in person, wants to get started on their holistic health journey as far as getting rid of toxins and just making a healthier household in general, that way they'll have your information. They can reach out to you, and you can set them up and help them and ask or answer any questions that they may have. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
All right, cool. Any final thoughts for the woman listening to, or man, I do have plenty of men that listen to this podcast too, believe it or not, which is amazing. I find that just makes me so happy. But anyways, what do you have for the person listening to this podcast? Final thoughts.
Just do it. I don't know. That's so broad, but it's like, whether you're scared about not being enough or not having enough confidence, like, just get out of your head and find your confidence. Like, it's there. You just have to find it.
I love that. It's true. It's there, buried under all that bullshit thoughts that go through your head. So dig deep and find that confidence. All right. Thank you, Arielle, for joining me on today's episode. I felt like we talked about a whole lot. So we might have to do another one, a follow-up one here, just to kind of see what unfolds for you this year. So thank you so much. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Go follow Arielle. Go check out all of her stuff. She is a genius when it comes to getting rid of the toxins in your life and just living a healthier and having a healthier household. So until next time, guys, go be a badass. Go find your confidence. Do the scary things. We'll talk to you later. Thank you for listening to the Confidence Coach podcast. If you feel like you need additional support, perhaps some one-on-one support, I want to encourage you to head over to sashadavis.com/apply now. Let's get on the phone and see if you're a good fit for the Confidence Mastery. Talk soon.